Around 12 months ago, I started experimenting with creating small ponds with no filters or pumps. To be fair, I have done ponds with no pump and filters before, and with mixed success, but this time I was using the Diana Walstead method, or Father Fish method, like that used in aquariums. When I say dirt, it was just dirt I dug up from the garden, nothing special. The idea is that the dirt provides nutrients for the plants to thrive, a home for bacteria and microbes that will help maintain the balance within the mini ecosystem. The sand helps keep that nutrient-rich layer locked away and prevents it mixing with the water, which would lead to algae taking over the little ecosystem. Debris like leaves, fish waste, dead and decaying things will sink to the bottom and slowly break down and migrate through the sand into the nutrient-rich dirt layer and fuel more plant growth. It's kind of like a little aquatic compost pile, like the one in your yard that keeps growing pumpkins, cucumbers, and tomatoes each year. So at the time when I set the ponds up, I was incredibly impressed with how quickly the ecosystem established itself. Normally in my ponds, where I try and avoid adding nutrients, it takes a long time for the ecosystem to establish. In these little experimental ponds, the plants took off, I added aquatic animals immediately, and I didn't get any algae outbreaks. I did set up a few different ponds with this method and placed them in various locations. One was in full sun, one in full shade, and one in part sun and shade. In all of them, the waters remain pretty clear, as then I can see right through it. The pond in the sun has a bit more fuzz, but it also has less plants. This pond in the part sun shade area has the most plants. It's growing these large cattails that would most certainly be sucking up a lot of nutrient. It also has the most life in it. When I built it, I put in 10 Pacific blue eyes and some native shrimp. I found one dead blue eye when I got back from a holiday. That was when the weather had gone cold. I believe the others have died also, either due to environmental factors or taken by birds. Birds are a big problem for me in my ponds. Anyway, I didn't add any more fish over the winter, and all the cattails died off, as did the floating plants and even some of the submerged ones. My winters are quite mild, and there was only a few mornings where there was some sloshy ice on the surface of the pond. Throughout winter and into early spring, there was some algae growth, but not a ton. A few times I just removed a bit by hand. I'm guessing the plant dieback, along with the cool temperatures, slowing down the efficiency of the bacteria and the microbes living in the substrate, caused the outbreak of algae. As spring has come around, the plants have taken off again. It seems like there's hundreds of tadpoles that have made the pond home, and I still see some of the native shrimp. So apart from trimming the dead cattails, removing some of the dead floating plants and some algae, that's all I did to this pond in the last 12 months. Oh well, and throughout last summer I was topping it up with water from one of my other ponds, but it hasn't had a water change or anything like that. This little pond that sits in the full shade, never grow any algae. This is a really small pond, and I put in maybe 10 cherry shrimp at the time. The only maintenance I do is removing some of the plant growth from time to time and topping it up. It doesn't get exposed to rain like the other two ponds, and again I top it up with one of my nearby ponds. The shrimp have definitely bred. I see lots of babies, but unfortunately that's not easy to pick up on my iPhone camera, especially with the glare. The pond in full sun also has cherry shrimp, and I think there's natives in there that hitchhiked a ride as shrimplets when I transplanted some of the plants from the barrel pond. Another hitchhiker was a fish egg, because there's a little Pacific blue eye living in here as well. This pond probably surprises me the most, because it's in full sun. In summer the water gets incredibly warm. And apart from the fuzz on the sides and the bottom, there hasn't really been any algae outbreak. Again, all I did with this pond was top it up during summer. Same like the barrel pond, There was a few mornings in winter where there was a layer of sloshy ice on the surface. So that's the update after 12 months, and it'll be interesting to see how they go in year number 2. Let me know in the comments if you think it'll go just as smooth, or there could be problems on the horizon. And if you want to see how the ponds were put together, I'll put a link in the description to the build videos. For something so simple, they bring me a lot of joy, they're always fun to inspect, and if you want to learn more about building and maintaining ponds without spending a fortune, you might like to subscribe and be sure to visit my website ozponds.com for plenty of helpful articles and ways to save money when building and maintaining a pond. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.